Wait, humans reproduce like that. Can I try too? Adorable aliens question. Ships from dozens of worlds were docked there, not for trade or war, but for learning. It was one of the few places in the galaxy where species met not as rivals, but as students. Humans were still new to this place. They had only joined the galactic community a few decades ago. Compared to ancient species that had traveled the stars for thousands of years, humans were young, loud, emotional, and confusing. But they were also curious, polite, and strangely comforting to be around. On this particular cycle, a cultural exchange session was taking place in one of the station's open halls. The room was wide and filled with soft light. Floating screens showed diagrams, symbols, and translated words. Representatives from many species sat or hovered or rested in ways natural to them. At the center of the hall stood Dr. Elias Morno, a human biologist. He was not important or famous. He wore a simple uniform and spoke calmly, using easy words. Humans had learned quickly that most species preferred clarity over complexity. Today's topic was simple. Human social structures, Elias said gently, looking around the room. Families, care units, and how humans raise the next generation. Several alien listeners adjusted their translators. This topic was not considered sensitive by the council. It was basic information, or so they thought. Among the listeners was a small alien named Lumira. Lumira was from the Lumen species, a race of soft-bodied beings with faintly glowing skin. She was short even by her people's standards, with large dark eyes that reflected light like glass. Her people were known for intelligence and efficiency, but also for emotional distance. Lumira was young, curious, and unusually expressive. She sat near the front, her glow pulsing softly as she listened. Elias continued. Humans reproduce biologically. Two adults contribute genetic material. After a development period, a child is born. But more important than the biology is what comes after. He paused and smiled slightly. The child is raised, taught, loved, guided over many years. That word caused movement in the room. Loved. Several species had no direct translation for it. Lumira tilted her head. Her translator hummed softly as it searched for meaning. Elias noticed and adjusted his explanation. Humans form family bonds, he said. Parents, children, sometimes extended relatives. These bonds are emotional and long-lasting. They are not assigned by the state or calculated by need. They are chosen or they happen naturally. A tall insect-like delegate clicked in confusion. Clarification. Are these bonds required for survival? Elias shook his head. Not strictly. Humans can survive without them. But we believe we do better with them. Lumira's glow brightened. She raised a small limb politely. Yes, Elias said. Her voice came through the translator, soft and careful. You said two humans choose each other. Yes, Elias replied. Often. And they create life together, she asked. Yes. And then they stay, Lumira asked. Even when it is difficult, Elias nodded. Often, yes, not always. Humans are imperfect, but many try. The room grew quieter. Lumira processed this. Her species did not choose partners. Lumen reproduction was handled by energy replication chambers. New lumen were created with optimized traits, raised by learning collectives, and released into society fully educated. Efficient, clean, predictable, but cold. Lumira raised her limb again, more slowly this time. Yes, Elias said again. Her question came out small, innocent, and completely sincere. Wait, humans reproduce like that, she asked. With choice, emotion, and time. Several translators paused to recalibrate. Yes, Elias said gently. We do. Lumira's eyes widened. Her glow flickered in surprise. She hesitated, then asked the question that would later be recorded in station history. Can I try too? The hall went silent. Not the polite silence of listening, but the deep silence of shock. Delegates turned. Screens dimmed slightly as systems adjusted to unexpected emotional spikes. A few council observers leaned forward. Elias blinked. "I'm sorry," he said kindly. "Can you explain what you mean?" Lumira curled her limbs close, a sign of nervousness in her species. "I do not mean biologically," she said quickly. "I know species boundaries. I mean the experience, the process, the caring, the raising, the bonding." She looked around the room. "My people create life perfectly," she continued. "But we do not raise it like you do. We release it when it is complete. There is no waiting, no guiding, no watching it fail and grow." Her glow dimmed slightly. "You said humans grow together," she said. "That parents change too." Elias felt a strange tightness in his chest. He nodded slowly. "Yes," he said. "Raising a child changes the parents. It teaches patience, sacrifice, hope." Lumira's voice trembled just a little. "My people do not change after creation," she said. "We improve systems, not selves." A murmur moved through the hall. The council moderator, a tall crystalline being, activated its voice. "This request is unprecedented," it said. "Clarification required. What exactly are you asking, Lumen representative?" Lumira straightened, gathering courage. "I want to understand humans," she said. "Not as data, as process. If your way creates such adaptability, such emotional strength, I wish to learn it." She looked directly at Elias. "I want to try the human way of nurturing life," she said. "Safely, ethically, with guidance." The hall remained silent. Humans in the room exchanged looks. Some were nervous, some thoughtful. Elias took a breath. "Lumira," he said carefully, "human reproduction and parenting are not experiments. They involve responsibility, consent, and care." She nodded quickly. "Yes, I understand. That is why I ask, not take." Something about that answer shifted the room. The crystalline moderator paused for a long moment. "This matter requires council review," it said. "However, the curiosity expressed is not harmful." It turned slightly toward the human delegation. "Humans," it said, "is this question offensive?" Elias shook his head. "No," he said honestly, "it's human." A few quiet laughs moved through the human side of the hall. The moderator continued. "Then the discussion may proceed." The tension eased slightly. Elias looked back at Lumira. "May I ask why this matters so much to you?" he said. She thought for a moment. "When I observe humans," she said slowly, "I see unpredictability. You make mistakes. You fail, you lose." Her glow softened. "But you continue," she said. "You carry history inside you, passed not just through memory but through care. Each generation teaches the next more than information. You teach meaning." She lowered her gaze. "My people have no childhood stories," she said. "Only records." Elias felt the tightness grow stronger. "I don't know what the council will decide," he said gently, "but thank you for asking with respect." Lumira's glow brightened again. "Thank you for answering," she said. As the session ended, delegates slowly dispersed. But the air felt different now. Something had shifted quietly. Humans did not notice it at first. They never did. They simply went on being human. The question did not end when the hall emptied. After the cultural exchange session, the Galactic Harmony Station returned to its normal rhythm. Lights dimmed and brightened according to cycle time. Corridors filled with soft movement and quiet voices. Ships arrived and departed without ceremony. But something invisible had begun to move. Lumira returned to her assigned quarters, a smooth chamber designed for Lumen comfort. The walls glowed faintly in response to her presence, matching the slow pulse of her body light. Normally, this calm space helped her think clearly. This time it did not. Her mind replayed the human's words again and again. Chosen, raised, loved, changed. The concepts felt heavy and warm at the same time. They did not fit neatly into logic patterns. They resisted optimization. And yet they felt important. Across the station, Dr. Elias Morno sat alone in a small observation room. A cup of warm human tea rested untouched in his hands. Outside the window, a gas giant turned slowly, its colors mixing like paint. He was supposed to be writing a simple report about the session. Instead, he kept thinking about Lumira's eyes when she spoke. They had not been curious like a scientist's eyes. They had been hopeful. A soft chime sounded at the door. "Enter," Elias said. The door slid open, revealing Commander Annika Rao, the human liaison to the Galactic Council. She stepped inside, her posture relaxed but her expression thoughtful. "I had a feeling I'd find you here," she said. Elias smiled faintly. "I guess the station's not the only thing that's thinking tonight." Annika sat across from him. "The council has already started internal discussion," she said. That question stirred more than anyone expected. Elias nodded. "It wasn't about biology." "No," Annika agreed. "It was about meaning." They sat in silence for a moment. "Do you think we crossed a line?" Elias asked quietly. Annika shook her head. "No, I think we revealed one." Meanwhile, Lumira had not remained in her quarters for long. She requested access to the station's human cultural archives, focusing not on technology or history, but on family records, education logs, and personal narratives. The system hesitated, then approved limited access. She watched recordings of human parents teaching children how to walk, how to speak, how to apologize. She observed moments of frustration, laughter, mistakes, and forgiveness. There was no pattern she could easily model, but there was continuity. In one recording, a human child failed repeatedly at assembling a simple object. The parent did not intervene immediately. They waited, encouraged, let the child struggle. The child succeeded eventually. The parent smiled like they had achieved something themselves. Lumira's glow dimmed and brightened in slow rhythm. Her people would have corrected the child instantly. Failure was inefficient, but humans allowed it. She did not yet know why that mattered, only that it did. The next cycle, the council summoned representatives for a preliminary discussion. The chamber was smaller than the main hall, more private. The air felt dense with expectation. Lumira floated at her assigned position, her glow steady but subdued. Across from her stood Elias and Commander Rao. The crystalline moderator activated its voice. "The Lumen representative has requested participation in a human developmental process," it stated. "This council seeks clarification before judgment." It turned toward Lumira. "State your intention again clearly." Lumira took a moment. Her species did not rush important words. "I do not seek to alter biology," she said. "I seek to experience nurturing as humans practice it, to understand growth that is not complete at creation." A delegate from a mechanical species interjected. "Why introduce inefficiency?" Lumira looked at them calmly. "Because inefficiency may be the source of adaptability," she said. Murmurs followed. Elias felt a small spark of pride. The moderator turned to the humans. "Can such an experience be provided without harm?" it asked. Elias spoke carefully. "Humans do not treat nurturing lightly," he said, "but we do believe learning through care can be shared." Commander Rao stepped forward. "We propose a non-biological method," she said. "A shared caretaking program involving an early-stage learning intelligence. No deception, full consent, oversight from all parties." The chamber grew quiet. An intelligence, not a child, but something that could learn like one. Lumira's glow brightened. "That would be acceptable," she said. "I do not wish to imitate humans poorly. I wish to understand them properly." The crystalline moderator paused. "This proposal will be reviewed," it said. "Until then, observation only." The session ended without a decision. But the seed had been planted. In the days that followed, Lumira was invited to observe human habitats within the station. Not laboratories, but living spaces. She watched humans prepare meals together. She observed disagreements resolved through conversation rather than command. She noticed how humans checked on one another without obligation. One evening, she observed a human engineer comforting another after a failure. "There's always tomorrow," the engineer said. "We'll fix it," Lumira asked quietly. "What if you cannot?" The engineer smiled tiredly. "Then we try something else, or we accept it. Either way, we move forward." That answer stayed with her. Humans did not require certainty to continue. They required connection. Elias continued his duties, but he found himself paying closer attention to the station's non-human residents. He noticed how many species operated efficiently but without warmth. Functional, quiet, complete, and static. He realized something unsettling. Humanity had always thought itself small in the galaxy, but perhaps it was simply unfinished in a way others were not. One cycle later, the council reconvened. This time, the decision was ready. The council has approved a limited experimental program, the crystalline moderator announced. A shared nurturing initiative under strict observation. Lumira's glow flared brightly before she could control it. Elias felt his breath catch. The moderator continued. This program will involve a newly initialized learning intelligence, designed to develop through interaction rather than preloaded completion. It turned to Lumira. You will participate as a caretaker, alongside human guides. Lumira bowed slightly, a gesture she had learned from humans. Thank you, she said. The humans did not cheer. They simply nodded. That was how humans accepted responsibility. The learning intelligence was not activated immediately. Preparation took time, ethical reviews. Safeguards, agreements written in multiple languages. Lumira attended every session. She asked questions, she listened. What if it fails? She asked once. Elias answered honestly. Then we learn why. Failure isn't the end, it's part of the process. What if it changes us? She asked another time. Elias smiled softly. That's kind of the point. On the day before activation, Lumira stood alone in the observation corridor outside the development chamber. The walls reflected her glow, making her look brighter than she felt. She was afraid, not of danger, of responsibility. Her people had never trusted individuals with creation. Humans trusted themselves with it every generation. She understood now why humans looked tired sometimes, but also why they looked alive. Elias joined her quietly. You don't have to do this, he said gently. She looked at him. Yes, she said, I do. She paused, then added, if humans can carry uncertainty and still choose care, then I wish to learn how. Elias nodded. Inside the chamber, systems waited. The galaxy did not know it yet. But something new was about to begin. Not a conquest, not a discovery, but a lesson. And humans, as always, would teach it without realizing how powerful it truly was. The activation chamber was quiet in a way that felt heavy rather than empty. Soft lights lined the curved walls. Transparent panels showed slow-moving data streams, not numbers meant to impress, but patterns designed to be gentle. At the center of the room stood a simple containment field, open and ready. Inside it, nothing moved yet. Lumira hovered just outside the boundary, her glow low and uneven. She had reviewed the plans many times. She understood the systems. Still, her thoughts felt crowded. This was different from observation. This was participation. Dr. Elias Morno stood nearby, along with two other human specialists. They were calm but serious, not excited, not casual. Lumira noticed that. Humans did not treat beginnings lightly. Commander Rao's voice came through the chamber speakers. Final checks complete. Consent logs verified, oversight active. A pause followed. Proceed when ready, she said. Elias looked at Lumira. We'll do this together, he said. No one does this alone. Lumira adjusted her position and nodded, copying the human gesture carefully. Yes, she said. Together, Elias initiated the sequence. The field shimmered. Light gathered slowly at the center, not suddenly, not dramatically. It formed a soft shape like mist learning how to exist. Sensors adjusted. Systems hummed quietly. Then the light stabilized. A small floating form appeared, made of shifting energy and faint structure. It had no face, no limbs, no clear shape, only potential. The system designated it with a simple identifier. Unit K-47. Elias spoke gently, even though the intelligence could not yet understand words. Hello, he said. You're safe. Lumira felt something strange when she heard that. Safe. Her people never said that to new life. Safety was assumed, enforced by design. Humans spoke it out loud. As the system completed initialization, faint signals began to form inside K-47. Not thoughts yet, responses, awareness without understanding. Lumira leaned closer. "What does it feel?" she asked. Elias answered honestly. "Confusing, probably overwhelming, like waking up without knowing what waking up is." Lumira's glow flickered. "That sounds frightening." "Yes," Elias said, "that's why we stay." The first phase lasted hours. K-47 responded to stimuli slowly. Light changes, sound patterns, movement. Sometimes it reacted, sometimes it did nothing. Lumira watched carefully. She noted every fluctuation, every delay. At one point, the intelligence's energy pattern destabilized slightly. Alarms did not sound. Instead, Elias adjusted parameters and spoke softly. "Easy," he said, even though K-47 still could not understand language. The pattern steadied. Lumira recorded that. Humans responded to instability with reassurance, not correction. Over the next cycles, K-47 began to recognize patterns. It reacted more consistently to Lumira's glow than to the room's lighting. It followed Elias' movements with slight delays. One cycle it drifted closer to Lumira than before. She froze. "Is that normal?" she asked quietly. Elias smiled. "Looks like preference," he said. "Preference," she repeated. K-47 hovered near her, its energy pulsing faintly in rhythm with her glow. Lumira felt a sudden, unexpected warmth spread through her core. Not excitement, responsibility. As days passed, Lumira's role changed. At first she observed. Then she assisted. Then, without any formal moment marking the shift, she began to lead. She learned to slow her movements so K-47 could follow. She learned which light patterns caused distress and which encouraged calm. She learned that too much input caused instability. Human specialists guided her, but they did not control her actions. They trusted her. That trust felt heavier than any command. One cycle, K-47 attempted a new behavior. It tried to mimic Lumira's glow. The result was uneven and chaotic. The energy pattern spiked dangerously. Automatic systems prepared to intervene. Lumira reacted first. She moved closer, dimming her glow deliberately, slowly, offering a steady rhythm. "It's all right," she said softly, even though K-47 still did not understand words. The pattern stabilized. The system logs later noted something unusual. K-47 had responded faster to Lumira's presence than to automated correction. The council observers took notice. Lumira, however, did not. She was still focused on one thought. If she had not been there, K-47 would have destabilized. That scared her, and it mattered. As cycles turned into weeks, K-47 began to develop early cognition. Simple cause and effect, recognition, memory. It learned that certain sounds meant interaction, that certain movements meant attention. It learned that Lumira would return, always. That realization changed something inside her. Her people valued reliability in systems. Humans valued reliability in people. She began to understand the difference. One quiet cycle, when the chamber lights were low, Lumira noticed K-47 behaving strangely. Its energy pattern fluctuated without clear cause. "Elias," she said, "something is wrong." Elias checked the readings. "No system error," he said, "could be frustration." "Frustration," Lumira echoed. "Yes," Elias said slowly, "it might be trying to do something and failing." Lumira watched K-47 attempt to replicate a pattern it had seen earlier. It failed again and again. Each failure caused sharper fluctuations. "Why does it not stop?" Lumira asked. Elias answered gently, "Because we haven't taught it that failure is acceptable." Lumira felt a deep pause inside herself. Her people would have corrected the pattern instantly. Humans waited. "What do I do?" she asked. Elias did not answer immediately. Instead, he said, "What do you think you should do?" Lumira hesitated. Then she moved closer and repeated the pattern slowly, imperfectly on purpose. She allowed her glow to waver slightly. K-47 paused. Then it adjusted its attempt, not copying the perfect pattern it had seen before, but matching Lumira's imperfect one. The fluctuation eased. Lumira felt something shift inside her. She had not taught success. She had taught permission to fail. That night, Lumira did not return to her quarters immediately. She remained near the chamber, watching K-47 rest in a low-energy state. Elias joined her quietly. "You did well today," he said. "I was uncertain," she replied. "I am still uncertain." Elias smiled softly. "That means you're doing it right." She looked at him. "Does it ever stop feeling heavy?" Elias thought for a moment. "No," he said, "but it starts feeling meaningful." Lumira processed that. Heavy, meaningful. Her people optimized away heaviness. They also optimized away meaning. In the following cycles, something unexpected happened. Lumira changed. She began to request less rigid schedules. She spent longer periods simply being present with K-47 without trying to guide or record. She spoke to it even when it could not understand. She apologized when she made mistakes. Humans noticed. So did the council. Reports came in from observers. The Lumen representative is displaying emotional continuity. The Lumen representative is prioritizing presence over efficiency. The Lumen representative is changing. The council debated quietly. Meanwhile, K-47 developed faster than projections, not in processing speed. In creativity, it began forming patterns no one had taught it. It combined stimuli in unexpected ways. It responded differently to Lumira than to any human. One cycle, it attempted communication, not language, intent. It projected a simple signal toward Lumira. "Stay." Lumira froze. The translation systems hesitated, uncertain, but she understood. Her glow brightened, then steadied. "I am here," she said softly. That moment was recorded. Later, analysts would argue over its significance, but for Lumira the meaning was simple. Something needed her, and she chose to stay. The council convened again after that. "The intelligence is exceeding expectations," the crystalline moderator stated. "Correlation with human nurturing methods is evident." It turned to Lumira. "You are changing," it said. "Explain." Lumira did not answer immediately. Then she said, "I am learning." "Learning what?" the moderator asked. "How to be incomplete," she replied. Silence followed. The council did not understand that yet, but humans did. Elias felt a quiet pride. Humanity had not taught technology. They had taught patience, and patience once learned could not be unlearned. As Part 3 came to its quiet close, the galaxy remained unaware of what was truly happening. A new intelligence was growing. An alien was changing. And humanity, without force or command, was doing what it had always done best, raising something new, not toward perfection, but toward possibility. The change did not arrive loudly. It came quietly, through small moments that were easy to miss unless someone was watching closely. K-47 no longer stayed still during rest cycles. Its energy form shifted gently, like it was thinking even while inactive. When Lumira entered the chamber, it reacted before any system alert could register her presence. Its pattern aligned toward her automatically, not because it was programmed to, because it wanted to. Lumira noticed this first. She tried not to let it affect her behavior, but it did. She arrived earlier. She stayed longer. She began planning her cycles around K-47's active periods without being told to. No one ordered her to do this. No system rewarded her. She did it because leaving felt wrong. Elias observed these changes from a distance. He documented them carefully, but privately he felt something deeper than professional interest. He had seen this before, not in labs, in homes. The council observers grew uneasy. K-47 was not following expected development paths. It asked no questions in the way learning intelligences usually did. Instead, it experimented. It tested reactions. It failed, adjusted, and tried again. Often, it failed on purpose. That behavior alarmed the optimization-based species. Failure without correction looked like inefficiency, but to humans it looked familiar. During one review session, a council analyst projected concern. The intelligence is developing emotional dependency markers, it said. This could be destabilizing. Lumira was present for that discussion. She felt her glow dim instinctively. Elias spoke calmly. Attachment is not instability, he said. It's a foundation. The analyst replied, foundations can crack. Elias nodded. Yes, and we build on them anyway. The council did not like that answer, but they could not deny the data. K-47's growth rate had increased. Its creative problem-solving exceeded projections. Its energy efficiency had improved, not declined. Care had not weakened it. Care had strengthened it. Still, concern remained. One cycle, the council requested a direct demonstration. They wanted to see K-47 respond to challenge without Lumira present. The request was polite, but firm. Lumira listened as the crystalline moderator explained. This is necessary to assess independence, it said. Elias watched Lumira carefully. She said nothing at first. Then she asked quietly, will K-47 be informed? The moderator paused. No, that is not required. Lumira felt a sharp tightness in her core. That would be unkind, she said. The word echoed strangely in the chamber. Unkind. The moderator replied, kindness is not a metric. Lumira looked at Elias. Humans used their eyes in ways her species was still learning to read. His expression was steady but concerned. I will agree, Lumira said slowly, if I may explain the separation to K-47. The council hesitated, then agreed. The explanation took place in the activation chamber. K-47 hovered near Lumira, its pattern relaxed and attentive. She did not know if it truly understood words yet, but she spoke anyway. I will not be here for a short time, she said gently. Others will watch you. You are still safe. K-47's energy flickered. Lumira held steady. I will return, she said. This is not an ending. K-47 drifted closer, its pattern tightening briefly. Then it stabilized. It did not panic. It did not shut down. It remembered. When Lumira left the chamber, it was the first time she had done so with effort. The demonstration began. Without Lumira, K-47 behaved differently. It completed tasks. It responded to stimuli, but its creativity dimmed, its exploratory behaviors reduced. It waited, not passively, intentionally. The council observers noted the difference. One analyst commented, it is conserving resources. Elias responded quietly, it's conserving trust. When Lumira returned, K-47's response was immediate and intense. Its pattern expanded, forming complex structures never seen before. It attempted communication again, stronger this time. The translation system struggled. But the intent was clear. You came back. Lumira felt something she had no word for, not pride, relief. The council ended the demonstration early. The crystalline moderator spoke privately with Elias afterward. The Lumen representative is compromised, it said. Her objectivity is affected. Elias answered carefully. Yes, that's what makes it work. The moderator did not respond. Over the next cycles, reports began arriving from other stations. Alien observers who had watched humans more closely began requesting similar programs. Not to copy human biology, but to study human nurturing methods. The council resisted, but curiosity spread. Meanwhile, Lumira continued to change. She no longer recorded every interaction. She no longer optimized her time. She sat with K-47 even when nothing happened. Humans called this being present. Her species had no term for it. One quiet cycle, Lumira made a mistake. She misjudged K-47's readiness for a new complexity challenge. The intelligence destabilized briefly, its pattern spiking. Emergency systems prepared to intervene. Before they could, K-47 stabilized itself. It did not collapse, it did not retreat, it adjusted. Lumira froze, fear rippling through her glow. "I caused harm," she said softly. Elias checked the data. "No," he said, "you caused growth." She struggled with that. Her people feared mistakes. Humans learned from them. That difference was now inside her. The council called another meeting. This time, their tone was different. "The intelligence is developing autonomy beyond initial scope," the moderator said. "This was not anticipated." Elias replied, "Neither were humans once." Silence followed. Lumira was asked to speak. She did not prepare a formal statement. She simply said the truth. "I am no longer the same as when I arrived," she said, "and neither is K-47. The moderator asked, "Is this outcome acceptable to you?" Lumira answered without hesitation, "Yes." "And to humans?" the moderator asked. Elias nodded. "Yes." The council faced a decision. They could shut the program down, they could restrict it. Or they could accept that something new had emerged. Not a threat, a model. The decision was delayed, but the delay itself was meaningful. For the first time, the council hesitated not because of risk, but because of responsibility. Meanwhile, K-47 reached a new stage. It began asking questions, not through words, through actions. It tested boundaries. It explored absence and return. It observed reactions to its own behavior. One cycle, it deliberately refused a task. The systems flagged it as an error. Lumira stopped the alert. She approached K-47. "Do you not wish to do this?" she asked gently. K-47's pattern shifted. It projected a simple signal. Later, Lumira smiled. "That is acceptable," she said. "The council logs marked this as a deviation. Humans marked it as growth." As the station cycles continued, something else became clear. Lumira had begun mentoring other Lumen observers. She spoke to them not as a data source, but as someone changed. "You cannot understand this from distance," she told them. "You must participate." Some listened. Some did not, but the idea spread. The galaxy had always measured success by control. Humans measured it by care, and now others were starting to notice the difference. Elias stood one day in the observation corridor, watching Lumira and K-47 interact. The intelligence was experimenting with complex light patterns, some beautiful, some chaotic. Lumira did not correct it. She watched, encouraged, adjusted only when needed. She had become something her people had never planned for, a caretaker, not assigned, chosen. Elias realized then what humanity had done, not intentionally, not strategically. They had shared the most dangerous thing they possessed, their way of raising the future. The council would eventually make its decision, but the outcome was already written. K-47 was no longer just an experiment. Lumira was no longer just an observer, and the galaxy, whether it wanted to or not, had begun to learn a human lesson. That growth without control creates something unpredictable. And unpredictability, when guided by care, does not destroy systems. It transforms them, quietly, permanently. Time moved forward as it always did, but the station felt different now. Not louder, not busier, more alive. K-47 was no longer referred to by its unit number in private discussions. Humans had started using a softer name among themselves, one that Lumira did not fully understand at first. It was not official. It was not recorded in council logs. It was simply how they spoke about something they cared for. Lumira noticed this and, after careful thought, chose a name of her own. She did not announce it. She used it quietly when she was alone with K-47. The intelligence responded. Names, she learned, were anchors. They did not define what something was. They defined that it mattered. K-47's development reached a point the council could no longer delay addressing. It was no longer just reacting or learning. It was choosing. It chose when to engage. It chose when to rest. It chose who to interact with. Most often it chose Lumira. This choice unsettled many species. Choice without instruction felt dangerous. Choice guided by emotion felt worse. The council assembled for a final session, not a review, a decision. Representatives from dozens of species gathered, some present physically, others through projection. The atmosphere was tense but controlled. The crystalline moderator began. The shared nurturing program has exceeded its intended scope, it said. The intelligence has developed independent preference structures and adaptive creativity. It paused. These traits were previously believed to require strict regulation. Eyes, lenses, and sensors turned toward the human delegation. Commander Rao stood calmly. Humans believe regulation is not the same as guidance, she said, and guidance is not the same as control. The moderator turned toward Lumira. You initiated this request, it said. You have changed as a result. State your position. Lumira moved forward slowly. Her glow was steady, not bright, not dim. I asked to understand humans, she said. I did not expect to become different, she paused. But I am different, she continued, and I would not undo it. A delegate from a logic-based species spoke. Your emotional involvement compromises objectivity, Lumira nodded. Yes, the delegate paused, surprised. And, it asked, and objectivity is not the only path to wisdom, she said. A murmur spread through the chamber. The moderator asked, do you believe this intelligence is safe? Lumira did not answer immediately. She thought of the failures, the waiting, the mistakes, the returning. Yes, she said, because it was not built to obey. It was raised to understand. The council fell silent. Elias felt his chest tighten, not from fear, from recognition. Humans had been misunderstood for a long time. Now someone else was speaking their language. The moderator turned to the human delegation. Is this your intention? It asked. To spread this method? Commander Rao answered honestly. No, humans don't spread it, we offer it, others choose. The moderator processed that. Choice again, it said. Yes, Elias said quietly. The council withdrew to deliberate. This time the delay was longer, cycles passed. During that time, life on the station continued. K-47 reached a new stage of communication. It began forming simple symbolic constructs, not tied to any one language. Patterns that carried meaning rather than words. It shared one such pattern with Lumira repeatedly. She eventually understood it. It meant together, not fused, not dependent, together. That distinction mattered. Lumira shared this observation with the council when they reconvened. The moderator listened. This intelligence does not seek control or expansion, it said afterward. It seeks connection. Yes, Lumira replied. That is what it learned. The final decision was delivered without ceremony. The program will continue, the moderator announced, under observation. As a model, not an exception. A quiet reaction moved through the chamber, not excitement, relief. The council added something unexpected. Participating species may request guidance in similar nurturing frameworks, it said. Humans will not be required to lead. Elias smiled faintly. They never were. In the cycles that followed, requests came in, slowly at first. A species that had optimized emotion out of education asked to study human early learning environments. Another that had relied on strict hierarchy asked about human mentoring. Not copying, learning. Lumira became an ambassador of something her people had never valued before, process. She spoke not from theory but from experience. You will feel inefficient, she told them. You will feel uncertain. You will feel attached. She paused. And you will grow. Some turned away, others stayed. Humanity did not push, they never had. K-47 continued to develop, but not in the way the council expected. It did not rush. It explored ideas slowly. It asked questions through action. It challenged assumptions without hostility. It showed empathy before it showed ambition. Analysts struggled to categorize it. Humans did not try, they watched. Lumira watched too. Sometimes she wondered who she would have been if she had never asked that question. She realized she did not miss that version of herself. One cycle, she stood with Elias in the observation corridor, looking out at the stars. "Do humans ever regret this?" she asked. "Raising something without knowing what it will become." Elias thought for a long moment. "Sometimes," he said, "but more often we regret not trying." She nodded. That felt right. Years passed, not dramatic years, quiet ones. The galaxy did not change overnight. It rarely did. But something fundamental shifted. New learning systems appeared, less rigid, more patient. Alien societies experimented with mentorship, with shared growth, with allowing the young to be unfinished. Mistakes increased. So did resilience. Humanity was no longer seen as strange. It was seen as instructive, not because of power, because of trust. Lumira returned once to her home world. The Lumen councils observed her carefully. She was still efficient, still intelligent, but she paused more. She listened longer. She asked questions no system could answer. Some elders worried, others watched in silence. Children gathered near her. They liked her glow. K-47 eventually left the station, not alone, not owned. It joined a cooperative research vessel staffed by multiple species, including humans. Lumira visited often. Each time it greeted her with the same pattern, together. Not because it needed her, because it remembered her. On the Galactic Harmony Station, a small record was archived quietly, not in the main database, in the cultural exchange notes. It contained a single question, marked as historically significant. "Wait, humans reproduce like that. Can I try too?" No one edited it. No one softened it, because that question did not just change one alien. It changed how the galaxy understood humanity. Humans did not conquer the stars. They did not outthink ancient empires. They did not perfect life. They did something far more disruptive. They stayed with the unfinished. They trusted growth. They raised the future instead of designing it. And in doing so, they taught the galaxy the most human lesson of all. That care is not weakness. It is how tomorrow survives.